I'm just excited to be thinking about kids ministry, reemerging, reigniting, and re-engaging. And so I'm really even more excited for the fact that this special guest has been a great friend of mine for many, many years. And her name is Patti Lake. And so I invite her to join me. She is the kids ministry director at Grace Chapel in Lexington, Mass. And Patti and I have known each other for decades. She taught me many, many years ago how to be creative, because I'm not creative like her. And so, and hopefully Patti can find her video button and can join me on screen. There she is. Hi, Patti. So because of this lady, I am not afraid anymore to use my inner creativity. Isn't that right, Patti? She's the first person that showed me how to make leaves.
Hundreds of leaves.
Hundreds of leaves. And so, and also the singing, I'm not a singer, but Patti is the best at that. And you had a consulting, a joyful noise, right?
Yep. Yeah, I did. I did early childhood music, movement, and theater arts for a number of years. Yep.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, Patti is my special guest tonight, and she, I've been trying to get her for months and months and months to do a webinar because she has such great insight. And so tonight she's going to help us to re-engage, reignite, and hopefully will reemerge with stronger kids ministries. So I'm going to disappear, and Patti, tell us a little bit about you, and then I'm going to let you share your screen, and you shall be good to go.
Well, thank you, Sandy. I think you did a really good job telling a lot about me. I love kids ministry. I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time, especially in New England. And it was something I never set out to do, but God made it very clear that I was going to do it, or I was going to sit in the whale and just kind of hang out like Jonah until I was ready to do what God asked me to do. Absolutely love what I do. I could not love it more. I bring to you a degree in leadership and organization, which is something I never expected to use in a ministry setting. However, it has turned out to be an amazing blessing for me to be able to use that. I love everything: community, event planning, organization, vision casting, strategy, but most especially, I love to be able to talk with folks like you and help you, come alongside you, and be able to just work with you and brainstorm and come up with strategies and ideas to be effective in kids ministry throughout New England. So with that being said, let me share my screen with you. This is the screen that I'm hoping to share. Hold on. Let's try that right there. And I hope you all can see that first slide.
We can.
Awesome. So let's jump in. 3 years ago, almost 4 years now, we were pretty confident that we knew what we were doing in kids ministry. A lot of us were just kind of chugging along, knowing what was going on. And then there was this silly thing called a pandemic. And truth be told, nobody was alive to tell us how to go through another one because we hadn't had one for 100 years. But now that we've come back out of that, we're finding that what we used to know doesn't always apply any longer. So that's what I'd like to talk with you guys about tonight. I'd like to talk about some things that I've learned, some things that I've studied, some statistics and stuff that will give us some insight into the way we need to turn to a different direction to help our families reemerge and reignite and reengage. And we definitely want to reconnect our families. So the resources that I'm using a book called Children's Ministry in a New Reality. This was a book that was written by Barna in conjunction with Awana. And it was used to study children, families, and resilient faith in our rapidly changing world. 56% of us would agree, we leaders, that children's ministry is often forgotten by the church. So Barna and Awana got together. They created this data-driven report called Children's Ministry in a New Reality, and they figured out two important things. The first thing they figured out was if we are going to truly prepare our children for faith-filled adulthood, we have to consider reframing children's ministry as something closer to child discipleship. The second thing that they discovered through their research was the work of discipling children should not fall solely on us, kid ministry staff, volunteers. It must not fall solely on parents. It's a cooperative effort, and it becomes a point of focus and effort for the entire church body. If you love graphs and statistics and all of those things, I promise you, you're going to love this book. The second book we're going to use tonight is What Most Parents Aren't Telling You. This was written in conjunction with the Rethink Orange group and the Arbor Research Group. And they wanted to learn more about the caregivers. So they asked a bunch of caregivers some very important questions. They wanted to know what parents want, how parents feel, what parents fear, and where parents are going for help. So the study was an exercise in deep listening. They wanted to hear what parents had to say about their own experiences. They didn't set out to help us as leaders to learn to fix a family, but they've provided so much information for us, and they've gotten my attention. They've gotten me to really listen to parents and to really start to understand parents. Because if we're going to serve every family better, we need to start with our parents. Again, if you love graphs and pictures and really cool color things and statistics, this book is once again for you. So let's jump in. And I'm going to start by asking a question. I want you to just think about this a little bit. What's something someone could have done for your parent when you were growing up that would have helped them be a better parent? And I'm just going to leave that there for a few seconds for you to think about. So let's jump in. I would love to hear your answers, but at the moment, we can't quite do that. So let's move along. Here's what came out of this study. One of the key things, and let me back up really quickly. This study was conducted throughout the entire United States. Each state was represented in this particular study. The number one thing that they came up with out of the major things was give parents a friend. And people said, I wished that someone asked my parents tough questions. I wish that someone from the church called and checked in. I wish that someone from the church invested in us, the kids. I wish someone gave us godly and positive mentors. I wish somebody invited my parents in and gave them more and deeper friendships. And this one's very important. I wish someone befriended my parents with love and grace and non-judgmental, that they were non-judgmental. And that comes up repeatedly. I wish someone resourced my parents for success. I wish somebody validated the great job they were doing. They listened, they showed up, they met them where they were. My philosophy is if a parent makes it on a Sunday morning with their 4 kids under 8 years old, there should be a parade for these people coming in. Validate the great job they're doing. Tell them they're doing a good job. These people that were in this survey said, I wish that someone was less judgmental. There it is again. I wish someone encouraged my parents, and I wish somebody kept pursuing them. The second point that people brought up was they wished that someone, the church, helped their parents deal with their stuff. And here are some of the things that people said. I wished someone helped my parents manage stress. I wish someone helped my parents know their identity and purpose. This is a big favorite. I wish someone helped my parents know it's okay to ask for help. I wish someone helped my parents with their marriage health, or to restore their relationship, or help them with their mental health or their addiction, or help them be better parents, or help them with better conflict resolution. I wish someone helped my parents with their emotional health. I wish someone helped my parents with access to divorce resources, or family counseling, or parenting classes, or budgeting and finances. This one was another one that really struck home. I wish someone helped my parents see their identity in Jesus. And I wish someone apologized for church hurt. Our next point from our people in the survey was they wished that the church would have helped them show up for me, showed up in time, spent time. So people said, I wish someone helped my parents notice me. Ouch. I wish someone helped my parents with respite care when they needed somebody to come alongside, give them a break, or step in. I wish someone helped my parents learn to nurture spiritual growth or the importance of the Sabbath. I wish someone helped my parents prevent burnout. I wish they helped them slow down and listen and be present. I wish they helped them to win at parenting. I wish someone in the church taught them to say no, but rather to spend more time with me. I wish someone told them to be present and that it was okay to be unstructured. Again, in the survey, people said that they wished someone helped their parents notice me. They wish that someone helped their parents understand child development and focus on phases of a child. I wish someone helped my parents with empathy. I wish they helped and supported and encouraged special needs parents. I wish they built us up and noticed and embraced a child's gifts. That's one of my favorite things to do. I wish they focused on me. I wish someone taught them to say, I love you and I'm proud of you, or to see the real person in me. I wish they supported and encouraged me and celebrated accomplishments and listened. I wish somebody taught my parents to vet my friends. I wish someone helped my parents disciple, not discipline. Or to have those awkward conversations where it was okay to communicate even when you didn't know what to say. Wish someone taught my parents to be open and honest and to apologize and to allow mistakes. And I know as a grown-up, this particular wish really hit hard for me. I wish someone helped my parents communicate that they were proud of me, even when I failed to meet their expectations and when I failed to meet my own expectations, the expectations I put on myself to prove myself to them. And it was a weird feeling when my mom last year said to me, I'm really proud of you. And I think that was the first time I'd ever really heard her say that. And then folks indicated that they really wish someone helped them talk to me. And they're talking about the church. This is what they wished from their church. They wished someone helped their parents learn to study the Bible and have Bible conversations as just an everyday occurrence, just something that they just did. They wished that the church would help them have those awkward conversations better. Those conversations, the hard ones about sex and gender and things of adulthood, and even the hard questions about Jesus. They wish someone in the church taught them to allow the siblings and I to ask questions. Wish that they knew that their parents knew it was okay to communicate, even when they didn't know what to say. They wish the church taught their parents to be more open and honest with their feelings, to be transparent, to remember to pause their busy lives to check in more, other than the gratuitous, did you get your homework done? I wish someone helped my parents know I would have appreciated conversations about their experience going through things, being real with emotions, life lessons, and so on. So I hear a lot of angst in the wishes of the people that responded to these surveys. And I hear this continuous theme. And I hear that these wishes are deep. And they're things that we should be able to address or help address. So in keeping those things in mind, and I hope I haven't thoroughly depressed you at this point, because please don't be, but there's more. When you hear these wishes, does it realign your mission? How does it speak to your passion? Because the truth of the matter is, people visit our church on Sunday. They visit. But in reality, they live in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And they're doing life out there. So what we want to do as leaders is we want to make mom and dad the spiritual heroes in their kids' lives. Because after all, mom and dad have the most time, which means they also have the most influence. So if I were to answer this question honestly, what are you most passionate about as a church leader? Doing a great job on Sunday or helping parents do a great job every other day of the week? My answer is both. It's both. Both and. I am passionate about having a phenomenal Sunday morning experience. I am passionate about not losing any kids, not having to take care of any boo-boos, not having to call a parent to come down to the nursery because a child is distraught and needs a parent. I am passionate about taking care of my leaders and making sure that everything goes just right on Sunday. But I'm also passionate for the mama whose husband is away in the military, or the mom and dad that are going through a divorce, or the mom who is divorced and can't make ends meet, or the dad who's estranged from his family. Those everyday Monday through Friday things that happen outside of our walls on Sunday morning. So I think this is a great question to keep asking yourself. What are you most passionate about? Because I really believe the answer is both Sunday morning and every other day of the week. So how do we do this, though, as leaders? How do we make this happen? Well, we start by providing information about what's developmentally appropriate at each child's phase, each age. And you'll say, but I don't know anything about childhood development, early childhood development. I don't like teenagers, tweens. I don't. I mean, that's the reality. But here's the thing. If parents are looking to us to provide these things for them, then we've got to know. So you've got to learn first. So if you don't know about early childhood ed or early childhood phases, if you haven't had kids of your own, if you haven't lived through it, find somebody who knows the things, all the things. Befriend a preschool teacher. Befriend an elementary school teacher. Take an early childhood class. Take a psychology class. I cannot recommend that more highly. Take a psychology class. It's amazing. And then you know what the funny thing is? You'll actually sit there and go, I knew that. You just needed somebody to tell you you knew it. Read, 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 read. Constantly read and observe. Provide resources about development. Good resources that you find, things that you read about, but make sure you vet your sources first and foremost. You've got to vet your sources. So that's a first good step. Another step we can take is to provide a take-home resource every single week. Tell parents what was taught on Sunday. Tell them when they show up in the room. Tell them how they can talk about it during the week. And tie it into everyday life. If we look at Deuteronomy 6, Moses charged to the Israelite people. He says, starting in verse 7, impress them on your heart. He's talking about God's word. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. This was Moses' charge to the Israelite people on how to help the next generation know God. And we can apply that to us today. We can help parents find a rhythm. We can give them prompts, things to talk about when their child wakes up, or at lunch, or at car time when they're driving in the car, because we all know that every kid spends a lot of time in the car these days. When they're outdoors, at dinner time, at bedtime. And it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out, complicated, theologically correct discussion. My Shine director, Matt, told me the other day he had the most organic conversation with one of our Shine kids, our special needs kids, in the ball pit. They were in the ball pit. And Matt just asked a simple question. And while the child was bouncing up and down in the ball pit, throwing things around, he answered him. And Matt knew he was doing the right thing. So help families find a rhythm. You take those opportunities to jump in and just talk to them on Sunday mornings. Help your parents to be able to find the rhythm, to find the words. Don't make it long. Don't make it complicated for them. It's just simple, and help them make it part of their everyday routine. There's lots of resources out there for you to find that can help you do this. And one of my favorite things, we talk about take-home resources each week. I want to encourage you, if you don't, when you have a new family visit your church for the first time, send the child a card on Monday morning and put some stickers in that envelope too. Because that's just another thing that you're actually sending home that lets your family know that you care. Another thing we could do is communicate in many different ways about the same thing. Leverage your technology. Use social media. Use email. Use snail mail. Text. Whatever format you know, use it. Share with them in as many ways as possible. I have a little Facebook book called Good for Families. And on that little blog, that little Facebook group that I have, that I probably add to 2, 3, 4 times a week, I make sure that I have something that makes them laugh. Something that makes them laugh about parenting and how hard it is. And they love it. Create email groups. And don't forget the magic of the paper copy. And I know we're supposed to be getting away from paper and so forth and so on. But here's what we know statistically. 95% of parents want you to hand them something when they walk in the door. After church on Sunday, when they walk into your classroom, they want you to hand them something. And 90% of what you hand them will live on the floor of their SUV for the rest of its natural life. But there's something about handing them that paper copy. We make little monthly calendars that we leave out. And wouldn't you know, they disappear because the parents are taking them. I'm hoping they're on their fridges, but I'm guessing they're on the floor of the SUV. But the fact of the matter is, I handed them something which made them it was just showing that I cared about communicating with them. So use whatever you've got, any kind of way to communicate with them, and make sure you hit them all, because we also know that there's Facebook, there's Google, there's Instagram, and they're all in different places. The next thing we can do is provide ways parents can connect with other parents. You know, they come in on Sunday morning, their arms are full, their bags, their kids are crying. You know how it goes on a Sunday morning. And they don't really get time to talk with another parent or another family. There's no time for that. They're concentrating on signing in, dropping off, and getting a cup of coffee and getting into service. And we want to facilitate that happening for them as fast as we can. But what we can do in the meantime, on those other days of the week, is we can connect them with parents that are further down the road. Parents with older kids. Connect your kindergarten parent with a 3rd grade parent. Find some faith grandparents in the church. Grandparents who maybe have grown grandkids or grandkids that live far away that would love to pour into some of these families. Do playground meetups. I'm going to be at this playground on Thursday at 10 o'clock. Hope you can meet me. And just be there and meet the families and introduce them to each other. Plan a family walk. take everybody out, go for a walk. Say we're going to meet at the rail trail I'll pick Hudson because that's near me. We're going to meet at the rail trail in Hudson at 6:00 on Friday night. Bring a snack. Go for a walk. Do a movie night. And one of the most effective ways I've found to provide ways parents can connect is to create an online community. Get a group of parents in their same phase or different phases and make a parent Zoom Bible study. Parents love the idea that they can put their kids to bed, grab a bowl of popcorn, put on their jammies, sit on the couch, and meet together with other parents for a Bible study. We can provide parenting resources on different topics. There are a million topics that parents are concerned about. Ask your parents, what do they want to talk about? There are blog posts. There are books. There's seminars. There's podcasts. There's relevant articles you can pass on. You could even do a webinar. Yes, you could. I'm certain. And what you can even, create and provide short, encouraging videos. Send them out through email or your church website. Pick different parenting topics to talk about. Create a YouTube channel. We have a kids YouTube channel. And if those of you who know me, my puppet Joyce is a staple person on the on the YouTube channel. But create a YouTube channel. The parents are watching it as much as the kids are. And if you want to create a Facebook group like My Good for Families, I also put parenting tips and relevant topics out there. But the one thing that I must warn you about is never recommend anything you haven't read, watched, or heard yourself. You need to vet everything. We need to cast vision for the big picture. We know that we have 936 weeks from the time a child is born till they graduate from high school. Translation for us that are working in kids ministry, 936 hours. If we see a child 1 hour a week, every single Sunday, from the time they're born till they turn 18, we have 936 hours with our kids. We know that there's sports. We know that kids get sick. We know there's vacations and family issues and events and all kinds of other things that prevent us from seeing these kids for 936 hours. So what we need to do is we need to help parents keep the end in mind. We need to help them understand that their time is limited, not as limited as ours, but it is still limited. And 936 weeks goes by very quickly. My oldest granddaughter, just turned 12. We have 6 years left before she graduates from high school. I don't know where that happened or how fast that went, but it did. And we need to cast this vision for the big picture with consistent reminders. We don't want to do one big long blast and make everybody feel really bad. Oh my gosh, your kids, you've got 52 weeks left. We don't want to do that, but we want to slowly leak it throughout the year. We want to leave little reminders for them. Little things like one of our favorite things is a marble jar with 936 marbles in it. What does it look like when you've taken out a marble for every week and now your child is 14? Those kind of things. So we want to cast a vision for the big picture. We want parents to understand that their time is limited. We want to create baby dedications and milestone events for our families. We want to celebrate things that are important in the life of the church family. This is a great time to cast vision. It's a great time to give helpful resources. Our baby dedications, we have bags that we give out. And it's a big deal. Their pictures up on the baby's pictures up on the big screens, and the parents have written statements about their hopes and dreams for their children. And the dedication is completed. They're prayed over. The church body acknowledges and agrees to stand alongside them. And they get their certificate in this bag. And in the bag, there's a helpful book and some phase cards for them and a little stuffed Ollie toy for the child and all this. It's a big deal. Baby child dedication is a big deal. And once you start providing that milestone event, more and more families come to engage. We have 1st and 6th grade Bible events. It's a big deal. The kids get their Bibles. They get a brand new Bible in 1st grade that's age appropriate. They get a brand new Bible in 6th grade as they enter high school that is also age appropriate. It's a big deal in the life of the church family. First impressions, a big deal class again, where we get families together and we talk about the ordinances of the church and the rhythm of the church calendar and what liturgy means, what the service looks like. And my favorite part of this is we then have parents share communion with their kids for the first time. This is a big deal in a milestone event for a family. Each child gets a small clay cup with their name and the date on the bottom of it. And then after we talk about the Lord's Supper, each family goes as a family, and the parents lead their kids in communion. Another great milestone event is what we call the next big move, because we know that we lose kids every time they transition from one department to another. So we've created something called the next big move, and we make a big deal about it. Hey, you just finished 5th grade and you're moving up to middle school ministry. It's a big deal. We're going to acknowledge you in front of everybody. You're going to get a special t-shirt. You're going to be invited to start joining the older kids in youth group and so forth and so on with special events and those kind of things. So creating these milestone events and these dedications are very important if you're reaching families in your church or outside of your church. This one's near and dear to my heart. Reach out to families with children who have special needs. Our special needs folks are the most underserved families that there are. And it breaks my heart, and it happens a lot, where a child comes or they call ahead and say, can you take our child? Can we come? Because our church told us we have to go. The biggest thing I could say to you is if you find that you have a special needs child, special needs family, and you're starting to develop that ministry, is figure out how to do it. You've got some great resources. Liz Babbitt is a phenomenal resource with Johnny and Friends. There's other churches that can help you do that. But you need to reach out to these families. You need to provide environments and support for them. And again, if you think you're out of your league, ask someone who knows all the things. Make friends with a special needs teacher. Seek out a special needs teacher in your town. Create that safe ministry place. Find buddies that will stay with the special needs kids and bring them through an inclusive classroom experience on a Sunday morning. Plan family events for your families with special needs kids. Connect the parents together. And most importantly, find a way for mom and dad to get to church on Sunday morning. Find a way to make that happen for them. Another thing you can do is host an open house event. So at the beginning of the church year, we have kickoff Sunday. We all do it. Kids go to their new classrooms. This is a good spot for us for our next big move, to bring that forward again. This is where you, again, as the leader, can cast vision. You get to talk to the grown-ups. It's awesome. You can provide resources for them. You can inform parents about what to expect. And you can connect your parents and your small group leaders. They get to meet each other and talk about things. And the biggest thing I can tell you about these events is make them fun. Play minute to win it games. Have silly prizes. Do all of those things to engage your parents so that they feel informed and supported, and they know where their kids are going and what's happening. Partner with your community. This is another huge way that you can reemerge, reignite, and get your parents to come to your church. Show up at townwide events. Provide a service. We have the opportunity in Lexington we have a thing called Discovery Day. It's put on by the Retailers Association of Lexington. And this happens one day where it's a giant street fair. And 2 years ago, they came to us and said, can you help us out? And we said, what would you like? Well, actually, no, let me rephrase that. We asked them how we could help them out. And they said, we have nothing for kids. What can you do? So we created a fun zone. We provided a service. We came out. We brought decorations. We brought tents. We brought stuff for kids to do. We had all kinds of activities for kids. We put dirt out in big kiddie pools with toy trucks for kids to stay and play and talk to each other. We put sand out. We had crafts. We had bounce houses and all of these things. We have become such a thing now because we've partnered with Lexington that they fight over where the kids zone is going to be every year. And the volunteer visitor center always wins in Lexington. But go to the town and say, how can we help you guys out? What do you need help with? Do you need a park cleaned? What can we do? Make friends with the governance of the town. And this is super important. You want to be good friends with the Board of Health. You want to be good friends with the rec department. You want to be good friends with the DPW, the fire department, the police department, and the town manager. Be visible, make friends, provide a service, ask how you can help. Go to the parades. Substitute teach in an elementary school in your town. Be visible. Because when you partner with your community, you build trust. And then your community knows that they can rely on you when they need things, when they need help, especially when it gets to things that are heavy things that we see in our world. So here are the things you need to remember. Every parent wants to be a better parent. There is not a parent on this earth that would say to you, no, I don't want to be a better parent. Remember that your parents are rookies. We all are rookies. None of us gets to cheat or read a book about where we're going until we've actually experienced it. But every parent does want to be a better parent and they want the best for their child. Parents want to talk to their children about God, and they look to us to help them do that. Parents have the most time and the greater influence. Remember, 1 hour on Sunday versus Monday through Saturday. And we are, as church leaders, in a position to help them succeed. Parents need to know, first and foremost, that we are for them. Thanks. Sandy, I believe there's questions for me.
There certainly are.
I see that. I was getting scared.
That was great content, Patti. That was really some insightful things. I mean, I have, and of course I've heard some of them, but like, for example, the milestones I appreciate, because I think when we think of milestones, we think of, we of course think of, baby dedications, and, we think of those things, but I love the idea, of like a 6th grade Bible, or 5th grade into 6th grade. I like that next big move type of thing. I think that's a really great idea. So I think that, and I think, don't you think we have to be careful of doing too many, or
absolutely?
Yeah.
It's a good idea to leverage your seasons and not do too many things. So you pick the things that create a good rhythm that you can sustain, because an unsustainable rhythm will kill you right away. It's just not possible. But if you spread things out and you think to yourself, okay, what's something we can do for Easter, for our families, for the town, those kind of things. What's something you can do for Christmas season? One of the things that we do a lot of, but actually we've toned them down to twice a year, is called an FX, a family experience. And it's kind of a wild and crazy variety show. And it happens at Christmas time. Ours is called Jingle Jam. And then it also happens at the end of what we call Kids Week. Our vacation Bible school is called Kids Week.
Okay.
So our closing ceremony is actually an FX. And it's a family experience. And it is It is one of the best and funniest nights of your life. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Last year we had confetti cannons and it was a giant party.
Right,
And
right.
it's those kind of things that bring parents in. They know they're coming in and they have fun. So, but yes, definitely leverage your seasons. You don't want to back things up back to back to back to back because it's not sustainable.
Yeah, don't kill yourself, because that's exactly what. Yeah. Now Jennifer mentions that that she has been doing, or in their church, they've introduced a monthly newsletter, laying out the topic or the theme for the month and what's happening and coming up. And she says that that's really, been very good. She said it's catches the eye of not only the children, but the families. So that's a really great idea. I love that.
Excellent.
Yep. Somebody says, is there any ideas for really small churches? She said, my head is spinning with all these ideas.
Start small. Start where you are. You don't have to do. I came out of a teeny tiny church many, many years ago, and it's progressively gotten bigger as I've moved through ministry. But start where you are. Something as simple as a playground meetup. It doesn't cost you anything. It's pretty easy to do, and just start small. And eventually the parents start to come, and then you've obviously got to build your team and everything, but you don't have to go out on this grandiose, but you can do baby dedications. You certainly can do baby dedications. You can do family walks or a movie night or those kind of things. So don't feel pressured to do huge things if that's not your environment, if that's not your culture.
Right.
Start where you are, know your culture, and do what makes sense for the culture of your community, your church community.
Right. Like at our church, so we and we've had to be flexible. So we try to have 3 events a year that are focused around family and children. And of course, the big one for us is our Vacation Bible School, which we have in the summertime. But then we also have an ice cream social as a follow-up to Vacation Bible School. And then we do an Easter egg extravaganza, which is an Easter egg hunt and things like that. We used to do a trunk or treat, but we realized that other people in town were doing it. And we felt like, maybe we need to put our effort into something else.
Yep.
Because I do think we need to realize that, there are ebbs and flows, and we just, sometimes have to give things up and do something different. So we decided to do the ice cream social instead of, the trunk or treat. And that's been working out good the last couple of years. And we're open to changing it up again if we need to,
Absolutely.
I think it's important to be able to do that. Somebody asked how about if they don't have kids? How would you suggest they go about attracting kids?
Get out in your community. Show up. Yeah. Go out. They're not going to come to us. We essentially have to go out there. And if you really think about how Jesus went out there, he didn't stay here and say, come over here. He went out there. He walked. He went. So you've got to go out there. And if you don't have kids, I get that. There's a couple churches that struggle with that. Go out in your community. Build the trust. Just be there. Show up for the parade. Show up, and if there's like a little town fair or something, how can we help you? What can we do to help?
Yeah, and do something kid-oriented, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you want to say to them, your community, we love kids.
We love kids. We love parents.
Yes, exactly. And be there. And the other thing too, I don't know if your building, maybe you could host a parenting conference.
Yep, absolutely. And talk to your schools. Talk to befriend your
idea.
schools, because
Yep.
your schools are facing the same topics that we are. Things that happen. I hate to bring it up, but school shootings.
Yeah.
Okay. Schools, there are all kinds of things going on. There are speakers out there. Partner with a school. If a school's going to have a speaker come in and do a thing, say, hey, can we come in and help?
Correct.
How can we help you? How can we just be visible, be there?
Right. Yep. Yeah. Offer at Christmas time. Offer a Saturday where you say bring your kids at 4:00 till 8:00, and we will give them dinner and a movie. And you can go Christmas shopping, go on a date night, whatever.
And we set up a room in the other room where you can wrap your presents.
Right. Yeah.
When you come back with them, and those kind of things, because by serving the parents, they realize you care.
Right.
And definitely things like that, and things that don't cost you a lot.
Correct. Yeah.
What we do know is that parents are looking for experiences. We've learned this.
That's right.
Again, and I want to tell you where it came from. Fuller Youth Institute, Cara Powell.
Yes. Maybe? Yeah.
Parents are looking for experiences. So you're going to see families going to church. We provide childcare on Good Friday, Ash Wednesday, Easter. We have full Kids Town wide open for the kids. Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve. We have childcare. And you know what we've noticed in the past couple of years is we legitimately had 4 Good Friday service, 4 kids down in Kids Town. 4. Out of the 200 plus we see on a Sunday morning, 4. But if you went upstairs and looked in the sanctuary was full of children with their parents.
Right.
Have the, two little guys, Trey and Landon, 4, and let's see, Landon's like 18 months, were in the service with their parents. And they were quiet and they were well behaved and they were all dressed up, because that's what parents are looking for. They're looking for those experiences, things to do together. They want their kids in the service with them on those special events, those special nights.
Right. And make sure when you offer something to the community, when it's bringing them to your building, make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, which means you need to have, you need to have background checks, Corey's. You need to also have the right ratio of children to, to adults, things like that. And we even put it on our website. Anything to do. We feel like kids are important, and we want people to know that. So if you don't have kids, get out there in your community, let people know that you love them, man a table with just kids' crafts and things like that. Parents are going to ask you, well, where are you from? And, give out bottles of water or whatever, make sure you have information about your church, and be ready. The other thing I would say too, Patti, right? Be ready. If somebody comes in with a child, guess what? You need to have somebody trained and ready to go down or whatever and do a lesson with that child.
Yep. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 8. It doesn't matter. You're there. It happens because this is what happens. So a parent has a great experience. They're on Facebook. They're in a mom's group. They're in a town's mom's group.
Right.
They say, I had a great experience. It's oh, did you? Really? We're going to try it. And before you know it, it just goes everywhere because somebody had a good experience because you cared and you went out in that community and you served them. Yeah.
That's exactly right.